Okay, welcome back. Time for another tech tip. This one's 15, about the importance of float voltage. But before we get to that, what are we doing? We're chopping up some batteries. These happen to be Firefly.
I don't know. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
It's kind of a hobby of ours here at Marine Tech. We like to see what's inside. And so, but batteries to their death. Why? Lots of times it's unnecessary. And so we see a couple of different scenarios for killing batteries. Some of those are off-grid, and you're running the batteries too low. You're really using them to their full capacity. You know, you're getting a lot of joy out of them. Okay, that's important. But part of the problem in off-grid is not fully recharging these batteries once a month. Almost always, the manufacturers, if you read the instructions, they're going to say, like, you need to fully charge these batteries, let them sit overnight, get back to square one. Some of them even have conditioning charges. Okay, but the other thing is, these boats spend a lot of time at the dock. And when they're at the dock, there's a lot of stuff that can happen and that can destroy your batteries. And most boat owners think, oh, it's plugged in, it's fine, we don't have to worry about it. Well, our technicians, whenever we do battery jobs, we have two things. Before you pull out the old carcasses, you see what is the float voltage, meaning where do these batteries sit the majority of their life plugged in at the pier. And then the tech tip is, after you watch the video chopping up batteries and all the other stuff we're going to talk about, always go back after you've installed a new set of batteries a day or two later, go down into the engine space with your actual multimeter and get right down in the battery terminals and find out what voltage are these batteries floating at. Where are they sitting normally? And it has to be within the manufacturer's recommendations. I can't say X voltage, 13.3. No, I want you to make sure it matches what Lifeline says, what Firefly says, what Mastervolt says. It doesn't matter who you meant dyno. Just make sure it matches, okay? And these are all, by the way, lead-based batteries. We're not getting into lithium today. So just make sure we're doing it correctly. And why is this important? Well, there's a couple of reasons for looking at the float voltage. What happens is, like this Firefly, I just cut it open and checked it out. This is the separators where you absorb, this is the glass mat. And it's got electrolyte in here. And if you cook batteries, if the float voltage is too high, then you're going to drive the electrolyte out. And once you lose electrolyte, you no longer have a battery. This Firefly was at 10% capacity. We were getting like 9 amp hours out of a battery that should have had 107. And so why? Well, in this case, we know why. There's been a couple of examples that I've seen. This one, Charlie, I asked him to go check his float voltage because the batteries, when he would unplug, would just drain, no capacity. Well, yeah, they were floating at 14.3 all the time. Well, he had a battery charger in the lazarette. I don't know, the story goes. A selector switch in the outside, he throws in his lawn chair and he sets it to a different type of battery and whatever. But they were floating at 14.3 and it cooked them out. When we got this thing apart, sure enough, the electrolyte, it was crystallized up in the top. There's a little bit that was left. No good. So Charlie cooked these. The other set that had gotten cooked was by another boat. They were Lifelines. We don't discriminate. We can destroy batteries from anybody. They had a solar controller and this nice big solar array. Well, what happened is every day when the sun came out, the batteries were charged from sitting all night. It would jump up into a 14.4, 14.6 absorption cycle for 4 or 5 hours every day. Well, it just cooked this set of Lifelines, I think, in that case, because they were already charged. They did not need that high voltage. We only need the high voltage when we've run the batteries down low and we're trying to replenish them and really get some charge back into the batteries. So you got to go down and check these float voltages because otherwise you're going to cook batteries. Check out these Mastervolt, these big cells right here that we just did. Okay, here's another example. expensive mistake. 17,000, I think. These are 2-volt cells, okay? 300 pounders, 1600 amp hours. Didn't make it 2 years. Boat was mostly tied to the dock. What happened? I don't know. I get my information secondhand, but the technician said, yeah, the boat owner didn't really have the profile set right. These were never going into any kind of float stage. So they're supposed to charge at about 14.3, 14.4 for these gel, I think is what Master Volt says. And then they got a float down below 13.7 or something. You know, probably even less would have been better, but they didn't. They were sitting at the dock all the time at around 14 volts, which was what was reported. For whatever reason, who knows? I didn't get to see it firsthand, but I did get to see the carnage. All that money, look at, they cooked the electrolyte out because the float voltage was just too high and ultimately ruined a perfectly good set, 12 of these nice batteries. So we got lots of examples here. Float voltage is a big deal. So you see that. Expensive, tens of thousands of dollars wasted on that big project. But the other thing with float voltage that's key is we don't want to burn boats up. What do you mean burn boats up? Well, I can have seen batteries get very, very hot. Once again, doesn't matter in the manufacturer, because when the batteries get old, and if these plates short out, if something goes wrong inside of a battery, or they get old and they're all sulfated, it doesn't matter. Batteries wear out. They're consumable, right? We try to get 7 to 10 years out of them, but at the end of the day, we got to buy new ones. And so look at this. We have a Group 31 battery, and we have thermal imaging, super awesome tools. We use these flukes, which work pretty good. And I actually really like this FLIR. Been using this one a lot lately. This is the TG165. But look at this. Flooded battery charge overnight. And I come in the morning and I see 204 degrees. 18 amps. We're not putting a ton of amps into it. It's getting hot. Okay, well, it's not the fault of the battery charger. The battery charger is holding it at this prescribed voltage. It's just 18 amps of energy is a lot. It'll build up, and we do catch a few boats poof, on fire once in a while. Not the battery charger's fault. We need to look at the variables in what we see, okay? Also saw we had a bigger Lifeline battery, had some sort of fault internal. Look at this, it had this little tiny spot. The rest of the battery's at 70 degrees, 162 degrees. So, and what happens is, smart battery chargers are smart, but when they see a load going on like that, they may not drop into float voltage. They might stay at absorption because they don't think the batteries are full. And so I think it's also not only for us technicians to know to check float voltage when we pull out old batteries and we put in new. Train the boat owner to keep an eye on it once in a while. If your batteries aren't down or they're comfortable and happy, they're just not going to last as long as they should. And so it's not that hard to do, but when you install a new set of batteries, make sure those parameters are programmed right on all charging devices. That's key, all charging devices. And that they match the manufacturer's recommendation, and come back a few days later and just see, are they sitting where they need to be? Because we don't want to destroy our batteries like that. And so, thanks for watching. I'll throw